You have exactly 660 seconds to save your own life. That is the average length of a Medicare appointment in the United States today. 11 minutes. Not 20, not 15, 11. And inside that narrow window of time, a doctor is expected to decode your history, manage your prescriptions, and make life-altering decisions about your heart, your brain, and your future. But here is the terrifying truth that nobody is telling you about those 11 minutes. Most seniors walk out of that exam room having shared less than half of what they actually needed to say. It isn't because they forgot. It's because something happened inside that room, a silent, psychological pressure that made them feel like a burden, like they were taking too long, or like the doctor had already moved on to the next patient before they even finished their sentence. I'm going to show you exactly how this happens, why it is a leading cause of preventable death for adults over 60, and the exact power phrases you can use to stop it in its tracks. Stay with me through all 5 red flags, because the last one is a silent killer you've likely experienced dozens of times without ever knowing its name. My name is Dr. Cartier Cohen. I am a specialist in cardiovascular health and the science of aging. In my years of clinical practice, I have realized that the most dangerous moment in senior healthcare isn't the diagnosis. It's the appointment where the full story never gets told. When a vital detail goes unsaid, it isn't the patient's fault. It's a failure of the system. Think about it. You've waited 3 weeks for this slot. You've got your concerns scribbled on an envelope. You sat in that waiting room for 40 minutes. By the time the doctor walks in, you're already on edge. And then the doctor enters, standing, never sitting, moving like they're in a race. Within 60 seconds, you get that sinking feeling. I need to wrap this up. That feeling isn't just in your head. It's a biological trigger. Rushed appointments activate your sympathetic nervous system, spiking your cortisol. For a body over 60, where arterial flexibility is already a concern, that stress is the last thing your heart needs. More importantly, what you don't say is what leads to the hospitalizations that could have been avoided. But there is a reset button. You have a right to every second of that appointment. You paid for it with decades of hard work. I, Dr. Cartier Cohen, am going to teach you how to reclaim it. Red flag number 5, the doorknob ambush. You've seen this. The doctor enters, but they never pull up a chair. Their body is angled toward the exit. One hand is already resting on the counter. Then, right as you're explaining a symptom, their hand moves to the doorknob. In medical research, this is a documented form of nonverbal intimidation. It creates an instant psychological pressure to cut yourself short. The tragedy is that the thing you decide not to say because of that doorknob is often the most critical clue. A new ache in your back that isn't just soreness. A dizzy spell you dismissed as getting up too fast. I had a patient named Gerald, a retired postal worker. He saw the doorknob move and silenced himself about a strange tightness in his upper back. 3 months later, he was in my office for a second opinion. That tightness was a cardiac red flag. If you see that hand reach for the door, use this Dr. Cartier Cohen power phrase. Doctor, before you leave, I have 2 specific medical concerns that I need documented in my chart today. Not discussed, documented. That word, documented, changes the dynamic instantly. It creates a paper trail and forces the doctor to stop the clock. Red flag number 4, the digital wall. Is your doctor talking to you or to a screen? The electronic health record was meant to help, but it has turned many doctors into data entry clerks. When your doctor is staring at a monitor, they are missing 80% of the clinical picture. They can't see the slight tremor in your hand, the subtle drooping in your face, or the way you wince when you shift your weight. If you've been talking for 30 seconds and your doctor hasn't looked up, stop talking. Just pause. Silence is the ultimate pattern interrupt. When they finally look up, say, I want to make sure you can actually see the physical sign I'm describing. Can we look at this together for a moment? This isn't being difficult. It's an invitation to be a doctor again. Red flag number 3, the 18-second execution. On average, a doctor will interrupt you within 18 to 23 seconds of you opening your mouth. 18 seconds. That is a statistical fact from the Journal of General Internal Medicine. They jump to a conclusion. Oh, that sounds like X. And then everything you say after that is filtered through their premature guess. This is lethal after 60 because symptoms in seniors are often atypical. A heart event in a 68-year-old woman doesn't look like a heart event in a 45-year-old man. If they cut you off, they lose the context. The move is simple. Let them finish their interruption, then say, I hear that assessment, but I need to finish the rest of my symptoms so you have the whole picture. Use the phrase, the whole picture. It frames your information as a gift to their diagnostic accuracy. Before we get to the top two, I want to hear from you. Which of these have you felt? Type doorknob or screen in the comments. I, Dr. Cartier-Cohen, read every single one because your stories help me shape the advocacy we do here. Red flag number 2, the chemical collision. Most seniors are on 4 or 5 prescriptions. When an appointment is rushed, the fix is often just adding a new pill or upping a dose. But a rushed visit rarely allows for a deep dive into polypharmacy, how those drugs collide in your system. Do not leave that chair until you ask, what are the specific side effects of this change, and how will it interact with my current list? If they can't answer that in the room, that is a massive warning sign. I remember Marlene, who ended up in the ER because a new heart med interacted with a simple joint supplement she'd been taking for years. She thought the doctor had it handled. He didn't. You must be the one who asks. Red flag number 1, the ghost close. This happens at the very end when you're reaching for your coat. A proper close involves a plan, what tests are being ordered, why they matter, and a specific timeline for follow-up. In a rushed visit, the doctor vanishes, and a nurse hands you a stack of papers at the exit. You walk to your car with 40% of your questions still unanswered. This is where the teach-back method saves lives. Before the doctor leaves, say, just to verify I have this right, I am stopping pill A, starting pill B, and scheduling the scan for Tuesday. Is that correct? This forces accountability. It catches errors before they reach your kitchen table. I want you to think about your last 3 appointments. How many of these 5 red flags were present? I, Dr. Cartier-Cohen, have a 30-day challenge for you. Write your 3 biggest concerns on a physical piece of paper, not a phone. Carry it into the room. If the doctor starts to leave early, hold up the paper and say, I have 3 concerns that must be documented today. By the end of 30 days, you will feel like a protected patient, not a passive recipient. Share this video with a spouse or an adult child who needs the courage to speak up. Next week, I am covering the specific questions to bring to a cardiac screening, the ones that can catch arterial decay years before it becomes an event. If you value your heart, you cannot miss that. Subscribe to stay informed. I am Dr. Cartier-Cohen. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week.